That's my invitation of the intro. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be looking at, well, I'm going to be talking a little bit about how we've rearranged the breeding room and our, what would you call it, our system and how we take care of our royals. Let's take a look. Right, so as opposed to last year we had the same rack system, but we had all of our females in these three columns, and then our males in some of the grouts in these two. Now what we decided to do, because we had quite a hot summer last year, what we found is obviously heat rises, and when you're breeding you don't want your males to overheat. You don't want any of them to overheat, but specifically the males. Spermatogenesis, which is the production of sperm, is inhibited by heat. In layman's term, the sperm cells die if they get too hot, so they become unviable. So the locks mean nothing, basically. And what you end up with ultimately is slugs. So what we've done instead this year, and how we've changed a little bit, and this is from really talking to other people who've been doing this a while and seeing what they do, is we decided to essentially move the males down. So what's happened now is only the top, or the bottom 5 I should say, are males, and that is true for these first 3 columns, okay? In here we've got divided males, and in these tubs we have, you know, your larger single males. He's in shed, bless his heart. So, you know, singular males here, and also we just don't have, you know, there was no need to divide them, so they've got their own tubs. Females now are along the top, so the top 5 of every stack of 10, and they're organized by the way in which they're going to breed this year, so the order in which they'll breed, and we dictate that based on what we did last year. Apart from the end, because we've got more females than the top allows, so there's some spillage of females going down there, so this entire rack here, and in this one here in the middle we kind of have some oddballs. We have some females that are growing out. Hopefully we'll be breeding this season, especially her. If she gets back on her food, she'll be breeding this season. We have some others. She'll be going this season, hopefully, if she gets, well, she's pretty much almost off size of what I'd breed her at, not her. And then finally, I believe these two, no, this female will be breeding this year. The pastel leopard het clown won't be, she'll be breeding next year. But the idea is that these 5 here are
grow on girls.
Grow on girls, or grow on generals. I think they're all girls at the moment, but they'd be grow ons. We would have done it shorter, right? So what I've done, spread the males out along the bottom 3, and they would have actually fitted along the bottom 3. Now, if you haven't done something like that before, what you'll notice is in these sorts of racks where you're running a thermostat for the stack of 5, you cannot mix undivided tubs with divided tubs that are in half, or divided tubs that are in divided into 3. And the reason is because the way the heat builds up in the divided tubs, that compartment actually holds heat better than these tubs. And so if you mix them, what you'll find is that all the whole tubs will be at the right temperature, but the divided one will overheat and it will get too warm. So we've had to, I mean, the way around that obviously would be to add more thermostats. So let's say we wanted to do that, well then I'd have 1 thermostat controlling those bottom 3, 1 thermostat controlling these top 2. Okay, so that's another way around it. But the way we're working it now, 1 thermostat per stack of 5 as they came, we have to work it in that way. Like I said, the females are actually ordered by the way in which they're going to breed this year. And if I talk about that very briefly, we previously always had a season starting in November around this time of year. So starting 1st of November, you know, you'd start pairing, introducing all your girls, and you'd go ahead. Now, because of what happened last year, which is the females just decided we will go when we want to go. We are starting females in waves this season. So actually we have a little breeder board. So just looking at it really briefly, we have animals that are starting to be paired in November, animals in January, animals in March, and animals in May. And that will, in effect, what that will do is it will ensure that the females have had a minimum of 6 months post their last clutch before they start getting introduced again. Some females will be delayed, so not all females, let's say in November, have been, well, November's a poor example. Let's say the next wave in January, not all females in January will have had 6 months. Some will have significantly longer, or they should have been going in November based on when they last laid, but we've delayed them to January because they may have not put back the weight yet. They may have been slow going back on food. We've been fortunate with that. We've only had a few females who are a bit picky going back on food after laying, and that's why we've arranged it in this way. So these girls are now breeding. So talking about our system now really briefly, the way we run it, obviously everyone has their own system, we're just showing ours. And how we do it is all the boxes obviously have the big ID card in the center, and then next to the ID card, we have a little breeding chart, right? So we write the date when they were introduced and we tick it if they had a lock. So far we've been very successful with that. That's how we keep track, and we're sort of aiming this year to have one lock every 4 weeks. Last year, the boys worked hard. Most boys this year are going to at least 3 females, okay? Based on this, some are going to less, but I mean, for the most part, they're going to at least 3 females. One boy there is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 females, but he'll be breeding 6 females. He is smashing food whilst breeding now, which means I'll continue to breed him year round, and that's important, it's year round. So he will never be breeding 6 girls at the same time, okay? So he might be breeding these 2 girls now. By the time he starts breeding the other girls, these girls should be going towards the end of their build cycle, right? They may need a few final locks, but they should be more or less there. So at most, he'll only have 2 waves at any given time. So he might be breeding 3 girls, max 4, in any particular period of time, but never for long. And we've thought about it very carefully so that the animals aren't overworked, but are still breeding. So for me, if a male is feeding well, and he's breeding well, I will breed him year round to a number of girls. If it's a male that goes off food, and we only have 1 of those, then they get selected for max 2 females, right? At a specific time of year, we introduce the male, breed, give him about 6 to 8 weeks of breeding if he's gone off food, and then we stop him breeding, shelf him, get him back on food. What I find is that with that sort of approach, the males do better, they rebound, they will lose weight. It's no good saying, oh, we'll lock them a couple times now, then shelf them, wait for, because they won't go back on food straight away. It takes a little while for them to go back on food. And by the time you then get them back on food, get them breeding again, we just find it works better for us. Let them go through the breeding of that 6 to 8 weeks of breeding, keeping an eye on the male's, overall body structure, his weight. If he seems to have lost too much weight, we'll shorten it. If he seems to still be doing well weight-wise, we'll actually, increase the length a little bit longer. But that's how we deal with males. As far as the tags go, and I think I've mentioned it here and there, we actually have a number of different colored tags, and each tag means something different. So we have a pink, a blue, a green, a red, and a yellow. Okay. So start with the pink tag, and you notice a number of pink tags here. Pink tags are placed on an animal that's currently pairing, okay? So if there is a pink tag, it means that that animal currently has a male in there, okay? You can see they're currently detached, but you'll notice that this tag has this part flicked up. So when we spot a lock, I always flick up the tag. Although I'll write the date, that is so as soon as I walk in the room, I can look around, I can go, okay, they were locked, I can peek in. If they've detached now, and it's been about 3 days, I'll take the male out, right? So that's what we do there. Yellow tags, and you notice some scattered around. Yellow tags are females that we have seen in ovulation, right? And they are approaching their prelay shed. So it's almost the amber light, right? So we're almost good to go, okay? Sometimes I also, like this girl, we haven't seen an ovulation on this normal het pied. Oh, sorry, Belle's trying to kill Jay. So we haven't seen an ovulation on her yet. What we have seen is this is a tenacious feeding female that is always attacking food, and she's gone off food. The male's no longer interested in her. She's no longer feeding over the last 2 weeks. And so we put this so we keep a close eye, right? Once that female ovulates and then has her prelay shed, we tag them with green. And green means green light. It means she's about to lay, okay? So I know that that female has had her prelay shed and she's due to lay within whatever period of time. And we usually, although it's clear at the moment because we've cleared the board, we usually will write it here. So once they get a green tag, we write the female. Expected is roughly based on 30 days after the prelay shed. Then we find out, you know, how many she laid, you know, good egg slugs, and then the date that those eggs are due. Although all this information is then also placed, you know, stuck onto the boxes, etc. It's just the way we do things. Blue is a very handy one. Don't use it as often as the others, and it's literally just waters, okay? So when I'm spot cleaning, or if I'm checking on the animals for any reason, and I open a drawer, right? And this girl's not a good example, and I don't know if there will be at the moment. She's fine. But the idea is if I open a drawer, okay, there we go. So she's got a bit of muck in her water, right? So I tag her with the blue as I'm going through her. I'd close her up. I'd continue my daily checks, whatever that may be. And then I know to come back and there's something to sort out with the water, okay? Either they've got no water or their water's pretty much dried out, or their water's dirty. And that's just a quick indication for me to then come back through my collection and just go, all the blue ones, I'll bring the hose in, pull up all the blue ones, clean out their water, put fresh water in. And then red. We don't have any reds in this room. We do have reds in the other room. Red means there is something off, something wrong. When I mean something wrong, for example, let's say an animal's had bad shed and needs a bath, red tag. Let's say an animal is a drop feeder or didn't strike feed and I dropped the rat in there, red tag. That means I need to have, you know, to pay close attention to what's going on. Sorry, Belle's having one of her moments. It needs close attention. I need to keep an eye. Let's say an animal is, we have a couple that are live feeders at the moment. And what we'll do is we'll tag them with red permanently. And that tells me when I'm doing food, I know not to defrost food or to bring dead food for them. I know that they're live feeders and that I need to be watching as they're eating. I never put in live meals if I have to use them. I never put in live and leave the animal alone. I'll put in a live and sit there until it's basically eaten. And if it hasn't eaten within a period of time, I take the rodent out. So that's what red is. We don't have, you can see we don't actually have many reds. Thankfully we don't have to use many. But it's just a way for us, if there is something that is of, you know, importance that we need to keep an eye on, then what we can do is we can go around, tag it with a red tag, and know that we need to keep whatever particular attention. We know there's something with the animal in that tub that we need to sort out. And that's essentially the system we use. Hopefully, listen, I have seen so many systems out there, and honestly, I love them. We will probably maintain the system. We may change. I mean, the color code system's in my head now, so I'll be using the color code system from now on. We may introduce more to the system. It really doesn't matter. I just wanted to go through it. So if anyone ever watches our videos, it's a bit like, what the hell are all these colored tags everywhere? They make a bit more sense. But like I said, there's been so many. Yeah, they're just a nightmare at the moment. I do apologize. Oi, can you take a seat? Sit down. Sit. 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 You come here. You overgrown fat sausage. So, I was saying there are many systems out there, and all of them work to each their own. And there's some incredible systems out there that I've seen. So we just wanted to share ours with you. As with everything, we all have our own ways of doing things, right? And I'm gonna stop rambling. And she's heavy. She's no longer a puppy anymore. She's a fat little sausage. So that from us this time. Don't you start. From us this time. That's all I've got to say. I'm losing track of what I'm saying here. Bell Bells is wriggling like a wiggly worm. And until the next video now. Oh, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought, because I like reading those comments and responding to them. I try to respond to everyone's comment. Leave a comment. Until the next video, guys, we'll see you then. Bye.